Yeah. Just introduce Vinit and then you can go ahead.
Hey guys, thanks for coming in. So we're gonna start with this 3 days event, Designathon. So basically, you will be having a inline experience with designing. You will be working on a problem statement, and you will be making a mock-up UI UX for that. And for that, we have a first session on the basics of Figma tool, and it's gonna be taken by Vinit. He's the designing lead at Bluelearn, and he helps with the all product design and has a immense experience in that. So looks like we are like giving you guys in a safe hands, and yeah, just enjoy the session. It's gonna be a fun
Cool.
ride. Thanks for coming in, Vinit.
Yeah, thank you, Devyans. That was a good introduction. But yeah, hey guys. So again, I'll just quickly introduce myself. I'm Vinit. I do a UI UX and product design for Bluelearn. And yeah, I'll be teaching you all very basics of Figma so that will get you all started, and you all will be at the end of this, you all will be able to make mockups and design websites and even mobile apps as well. It's and don't worry, it's not that difficult. It's very easy. uh, Half an hour or 45 minutes of this session should be good enough for you all to get it started. Okay, so I'll just quickly share my screen. Let me know if I can see it.
Also, he'll be
Okay.
answering your questions at the end. So if you have any questions, then hold them to the end of this.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can see your screen.
So okay, if you all already have a Figma account, if y'all just go to figma.com, you will get this recent tabs or recent section where all your previous projects and all have been shown. And if not, you will have to sign up and go through the whole process. And you'll have to add your name, company name, and stuff, and then you get a blank canvas. So I'll just quickly show you. So I'll quickly introduce you to this whole layout. So let's start with the left column. So here, if you see, I have three companies. One is personal, one is Bluelearn, and one Bhatkar. So Bhatkar is my college project. Bluelearn is what I've been working for, and personal. So here, under personal, under my company name, I have then I can create projects. So here, if you see, I have created a project name called Figma Workshop for today. So I'll just go there, and then under projects, there you can create multiple files. So wait, just to give you a quick overview, Figma is free, but it only gets like even big people in industries use the free version of Figma. For individuals, it's completely free. You don't need anything. It only gets it. The subscription starts only if you need multiple collaborations and you have more than three new teams. Like I have three. I already have three companies, but if I need more than three, I will have to pay for it. So it's like that. So, and then even under each team, you can only create a max of one project, and under one project, you can create only three files. So it's not that limited. I'll tell you why. You'll understand once I open. So I've already created a file that's okay. I'll just delete it and I'll create again. So you will get something like this. So you create a new file, design file, and give it some time. It takes time to load. But yeah, voila. This is what you have. It's pretty empty, but still okay. I'll just to tell you all, there are basically three menu bars on Figma. Okay, so this is the top bar, which is where you start from. Then there is a left column where all the components you add will be shown over here, and this is your. I'll explain. I'll get back to this. And this is your board. Like this is your. This is where you play around with. And so on the first menu bar, the main menu bar, the most important, where you start making your mockups and all, is your frame. Or like Figma calls it a frame, but some like, I don't know where, I'm not sure, but I think Sketch and all call it an artboard. I'm not really sure, but so you can either directly click on this icon over here, or just press F, and then you get the icon changes. So by default, it is this pointer, but then if you press F, it changes to this. And now if you notice on the right column over here, there are pre-existing frames like sizes. So iPhone 11 Pro Max, this is the iPhone size. Then if you go to create one more, if you go to desktop, you have a desktop frame. So this is there. Cool. So let's just delete it. And normally what I like doing is I just create it, and over here, if you see width and height, I make a 1920 into 1080 pixel frame. But then even some designers prefer just going to desktop and creating a desktop frame. This normally doesn't matter. I'll tell you why. Because in a website, the container size is always limited. It's always around 1300 pixel or 1200 pixel. So no matter what you take, if you take 1920 or 1440p, it's always going to be constrained within this. So for the purpose of this workshop, let's just take the default one, 1440p. And now if you notice, I have a lot of space. I can create as many frames as I like. I can go up and down. You can easily get lost in Figma. So it's a pretty big thing. Okay. So now see, if you notice, if I create a frame, the frame comes away. I can rename it. I can call it, so today, okay, I'll just call it frame 1 and it's here. If I create one more frame, my frame gets listed over here. This will be frame 2. So yeah, so on the left column, all your components are listed. Whatever you add, maybe if you add a rectangle, if you add a picture, if you add a text, that is listed over here. It's not that simple. It gets a little complicated in the end, but I'll explain it. So okay, now we have started with the frame, and I've selected the frame. Now, if you notice on the right side, this whole panel is filled up with a lot of stuff. Like there is width, height, x-axis position, the y-axis position. And yeah, so the most important thing for you right now to start with is the fill. Fill is the color of your frame. So you can click on this icon over here, or if you are familiar with hex codes, you can just add a hex code you like. Or normally people just click on the icon and select a color they like. Suppose that's it. It's that simple. If you want to add a gradient, here you go to click linear gradient, you switch the gradient side, and you can select colors also. So yeah, you can do a lot of stuff. It's very simple. So normally, like 90% of times, frames are either like your main background is either white or black. So for this workshop, we'll go ahead with a white frame. And so now I've introduced you to frames. Next thing we'll go to is shapes. So these shapes like rectangle, line, arrow, ellipse, polygon, star, these are used to create your design elements. Like you've noticed on a website will have pictures, it'll have random squares and stars and all floating around just to add design. These are called design elements. They're just to beautify it. So rectangles and all are used for that, and frames is used to create something which encompasses other complex stuff like buttons. If you want to group a set of buttons and a text and a picture in one box, that becomes a frame. So let's take a square, a rectangle, and now if you notice, I'm very free to create however rectangle I like. But if you're wondering how do I create a perfect square without having to manually go through it, what I can do is I'll just select it again. I'll hold shift. I'm holding shift and I'm pulling it. So it comes a perfect square comes. Same goes with ellipse. I selected ellipse, and if I just randomly do it, I get any shape of it. But if I'm holding shift, it automatically switches into a circle, and then I can change the size. So yeah, that's it. So now again fill. You all are familiar with fill. I can change the color of it. I can add a gradient. So, and okay, so that's it. Now, one more thing I'll show you is for now, I'll just change its fill to white. FFF is white. Now, and this is, okay, this is stroke. Stroke is border or outline. So if I click on it, if I click on this plus button, and by default adds a black border to it. If you can notice, there's a black border on this. And then again, I can change its color from here. I can reduce its transparency. I can, yeah. And then here there is something, your stroke width. So I can increase its width basically. This is in pixels, by the way. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. And yeah, this minus sign is to completely remove it. Plus sign adds it again. Okay, so now that is done. Let's just remove the stroke, select the circle, and now I'll introduce what effects are. So under effects, you have multiple effects. But if I click on plus, by default, I get a drop shadow. But you have multiple. You have inner shadow. So inner shadow is just put shadow inside your shape, and your drop shadow gives the shadow outside your shape. Layer blur and background blur is something not many people use it, but so layer blur just blurs the layer, and background blur just adds a blurry. I'll show it to you later. So let's do drop shadow first. If I click on this icon again, I can adjust it. I can give x-axis. I can give a 2 pixel out, and here I can give again 2 pixel blur. I can change this blur over here and spread and everything. The color also, color of the shadow, I can change it to red. Here its opacity can be changed, and that's it. So you've learned shapes and adding shadows to it. So I'm just going to delete. Oh, your keyboard buttons work really well on this. So like if I selected it, if I press delete, it gets deleted. If I select this, and if I do Control C, and if I do Control V, it gets duplicated. There's one very cool shortcut which many of y'all might not be familiar with, is Control D. So what happens in Control D is I select it, and as it press Control D, it gets duplicated. Control D stands for duplicate, and then I don't have to go to the hassle of Control C and Control D. Control D just duplicates it. So yeah, that's done. I've introduced all to the rough layout of okay. I've introduced all to shapes. Going next is this. Now you have two tools over here, pen tool and a pencil tool. If y'all have used any Adobe products, y'all must be familiar with the pen tool. You can just create very interesting figures and blobs and shapes. And then you can add a fill to it. You can give it a color, and that could be one of your elements in your website. Anyway, you can add a stroke to it. You can remove the stroke. Sorry. And then you click on that. That's it. Here is your blob which you've created with the pen tool. Same thing as the pencil tool. Pencil tool you can just draw, but I've never used the pencil tool. So yeah, and this cursor you'll be using the most, the pointer cursor. And then there is text. So so text, many beginners make the mistake of just they just drag it and then they start typing. Don't do that. I'll tell you why a bit later. So suppose I type something, say Bluelearn is really cool. Okay, so now I have a text, and then if you noticed over here on the right panel, everything changed again. So now I can change its font. I have a huge library of fonts. These are mostly from that. If you are familiar with Google fonts, so all of these fonts are from Google fonts. So for the sake of this workshop, we'll stick to Montserrat. Montserrat is one font I really like using. It's pretty common as well, but yeah. The font size can be changed again in pixels. Font weight, like the boldness of it, medium, semi-bold, bold. And then, also if you have used HTML, CSS, and if you're then learning Figma is much easier. Or even vice versa, if you learn Figma, learning HTML, CSS is much easier. You know why? Because it's everything is just HTML and CSS. If you go to now, this is all in design section, but if you go to inspect, you get your whole CSS code right over here. For this text, I have my whole CSS code along with the width, height, left and top position, and font and everything. So if you're a developer, front-end developer, Figma is really helpful. Okay, again, you can change the color of your font from here, add stroke, add effects. Cool. So I'm just gonna delete it. And let's start with this. Let's see. Oh yeah, okay. One more cool thing about Figma is comments. So one great advantage of Figma over other competitors, it has two things. It is very collaborative. Like I can call anyone instantly and me and that person can together work on it on the same file. It's very convenient. Plus, it is operable on all platforms like Mac, Windows, whatever. Because main reason they are able to do that is because it's browser based. So everyone has a browser. They can just log in into Figma. If I share my file with someone, they get access to it. They can come on, and I can give them view edit access. When I'm the owner, I have the whole control over the person. And yeah, so that's it. And so this icon is for comments. So suppose I have put some some logo. This is my logo, to say, for an instance. And now some other dude comes who I've shared the file with, and if he wants to comment on it, like, he can write, why is this logo so ugly? And then he can tag me Vinit. And once he posts it, I get an email saying that that dude has tagged you and he's saying, why is this logo so ugly? And then I can come on board and I can click on it after I've taken care of it. So yeah, this is one really cool feature of Figma. That's collaboration and ease of use was main reason why Figma got really popular, and it overtook XD. It didn't overtake, but it's on par with XD and Sketch. So yeah, this is the like basic overview of how Figma is. So now let's start, make a mock-up. Okay, we'll try to create a food website, a very basic food website, and then you'll be good to go. So normally, if you've seen, most websites have a top menu bar. They have some text over here. They have one more text over here. They have some button, and they have a big picture, some picture. Cool. So we'll follow this basic layout, and we'll try to create a food delivery website. Cool. So I'm going to keep this over here, and I'll create a new frame. So I'm pressing F on my keyboard, and the frame gets selected automatically. I click on desktop, and I have a desktop frame. So now, what do I need before I start? I need a logo and I need a name for my food delivery app. So I'll take the text. Again, a shortcut for text. Suppose I'm on my pointer, I can just press T for tabla, and my text comes, or T for text as well. And then suppose I name my food delivery app, say Bluemato. Cool. My font is Montserrat. Let's just make this 20 bold. Also, this one pretty cool feature is I can select and change the color of it. Here. And maybe we'll need a logo. Oh yeah, I forgot to. One good feature about Figma is its plugins. So Figma has a very huge community, like it's getting bigger and bigger day by day. And so I'll just show you. There's something called the plugins where you can just directly get icons. You can get lorem ipsum text. You can get images. So I'll show you the community quickly. So this is the community. You get ready-made designs. You get ready-made design schemes. You get ready-made icons like 3D icons, shapes, whatever you want. You can just go ahead. Like suppose if I want cool, I want thin glyphs. I just go ahead, go to their page. It says duplicate over here, and it just opens up. Now my Figma, whenever I open my Figma, I'll have thin glyphs over here. And if I like, suppose I like this globe, I can just Control C on it, go to my Figma, Control V. I'll just change its color quickly. Red. There, I got it. So community. So here, every Figma community is really helpful because all of them, like they've been constantly updating it. So yeah, just one sec. Okay. So here is where I got my plugin called Iconify. So this Iconify just gives me whatever icon I want. So if I want now for an icon, for a food delivery icon, I just search for food. My bad. There, fork and knife. I take it. This is our icon. Okay, cool. Okay. Yeah. Oh, also, before we move on, so what most designers do is they maintain their spacing, like the spacing between the icon and the text or the, wait, I'll come back to that a bit later. So we have this. Now I'll need some more links on top on the navbar, right? So I'll have home. I'll have restaurants. I'll have foods. Food. Just roughly naming it. And maybe we'll have one more is sign in. Sign in. Cool. So this would be a rough. So what what anyone would normally do is they would select both these by drag and dropping, put this away, try to use these guidelines and manually try to adjust them. But this is very troublesome. Say suppose you added 4 links and now you want to add one more link. You have to manually move each of them side and then add one more. So one good thing Figma has introduced is something called as auto layout. So what auto layout does, it's more like, if you're familiar with HTML, CSS, this will help you. So it basically adds a div around it and adds a flexbox around it. So you can add auto layout by just selecting all 4 items and pressing Shift A. If you note, I'll just Control Z and I'll do it again. I press Shift A and everything got the whole layout got arranged automatically. So now all 4 links of mine are in proper line. And now here you see, okay, I'll just Control Z again. There's no auto layout. I'm selecting all. There's nothing over here. But when I press Shift A, a new section gets added, says auto layout. Now, if you this is vertical direction, horizontal direction. This is the spacing between each item. So 46, 40. Let's just keep 40 for now. Designers, or it's a good practice to keep your spacings between text or any items multiple of 8. Multiple of 8 or 4 or 12, however you prefer, but keep it uniform to maintain uniformity. So I prefer keeping multiples of 4 and 8, mostly 8. So I've gone ahead with 40 between each home and restaurant and food. Each of them have a spacing of 8. Now same goes with these two. I can just put them in an auto layout. Now, if you notice, this icon got pushed up. So these are all our top aligned. So I can click on this, and if if you see this, I have multiple options. I can either layer. Okay, you know what? I'll make a bigger. Yeah. So if I click on the top corner, they get pushed on top. If I click in the center, they get pushed in the center. And then no matter where I move them, they're always there. So I put them in the center, and I will give it like this. Cool. These constraints are little advanced. I'll get back. I'll teach you all these later once y'all are comfortable with the basic stuff. So constraints is also very crucial. It helps you a lot. Like it reduces your work a lot by a lot. So yeah, now I have added my links. I have added. So I'm putting these two also in an auto layout. Center them. Give them a spacing of 80. And yeah, we can't have a logo and the links have the same font size. So I'm just gonna select all of them, give them medium 60. Okay. Oh, also good thing about auto layouts is now if I decide to move, if I want to switch between restaurants and food, what I would have had to do before is, suppose these weren't in auto layout. Now these are individual. I would have to pick him out, put him over here, get this guy over here. And again, my spacing would have gotten a little messed up. So that, to avoid that, what auto layout lets you do is I can just shift. So if I select food, I can just shift food and restaurant section. If I shift sign in, oh shit, my bad. Sign in over here, see, automatically it gets adjusted. So it's very, very convenient, very, very useful. Maybe you won't realize the importance of it now, but once you start designing projects and once you have people giving you advice and changes, this is the most important, that this will save your life. I'm not even joking. So I've given, let's just center this. Okay. Now this is only for the CSS users. If you'll know what in Flexbox, space between is. So what space between does is, suppose now it's packed, it's by default packed, and if I increase its size, it stays in the middle because I've selected center over here. But what if I want blue matto, not blue matto, and my links to go at the edges of this frame? So what do? Is I click space between. They get pushed at the sides. And then again, suppose if I have a bigger one, if I want to push them both on top, if I want to push them down, I can do that. That is super chill. Just give me a minute. Top contents. Giving it space between. Putting here. Okay. So we have a very bare bones nav bar ready. We have a logo, we have a company name. This is in the center. Okay, now what you need is a picture over here. So for that, I use this website called as Undraw. It's really nice. Like they have pretty cool illustrations, not pictures, but illustrations. I like illustrations. And here I can select the, okay, suppose I want food delivery, so I'll just search food, and let's just take, suppose we want to take the burger. I download it. My burger is downloaded. I can open Figma. I can pick it up from here and drag it. That's it. It's that simple. Now, also one more thing that Figma lets you do is you can manually change each and every color. This is super cool. Like if you notice the screen, I can change the screen to darker green, even green. I can make the letters to be blue in color. Anything. So yeah. Sorry. Moving on. So now that we have our illustration ready, we need some catchy text. So again, for the catchy text, either I can just go back all the way to text, add it over here. Instead of doing that, even what I can also do is click on any of the existing text, duplicate it using Control D, drag him out, and then, okay, this was a little more complicated, but you end up using this the most. Suppose I call it a catchy text is, okay, I haven't selected it. My catchy text is fastest online food delivery service. Okay. So now it's a little not that good, obviously, but I'll increase its font size, reduce its length, give it a little more boldness. Okay. And maybe give it a little darker shade of blue. Oh, also we have a color picker on Figma. I'm sorry, I forgot that, but this really helps you a lot. So if I want the blue from the burger, if I want the red from the burger, it gets added automatically. So yeah, I got my title. Now I need a subtitle. So I just Control D, I drag it down. I change the color. Oh, my bad. I change the color to black, maybe not black, a little shade of gray. Reduce its font size to 18. Make it medium. Take this out. And I'll just, we are really, really fast. Please order food from our app, please. So I have my subtitle. Now what is missing is a CTA. CTA is a call to action button. So every website this is a compulsory, not a compulsory, but a call to action is really important. Like 90% of the websites have a call to action button. Because once a user is on your page, this is the first thing that he sees, and you don't want to lose him. So how do you retain him? Is you keep a button, a very big, bold, catchy button, which he'll just instantly go and click onto. So let's just now I don't want to keep a button, but rather I want him to download my app, my food delivery app. So what I do is I take a frame. Now I could either take a rectangle or I could take a frame. So I'm taking a frame because I'm going to add text in that button. Rectangle is only taken when you're using it as a rectangle itself and not as a encompassing thing. So in my frame, I'm going to add some, oh, my bad. I'm just going to add a fill to it. I clicked on plus. Suppose, okay, now let's keep our CTA2. Okay, I'm going to duplicate this, download app. Okay, if you notice, now my text is, the text box is pretty long. I don't need it to be this long, because if you see, if I go to the edge of this frame, it'll snap onto it. See, you see it snapping over there. So how do I do? If I do this manually, it's still a little messy. So what I do is, there are these two things over here. Right now it is on fixed shape, fixed size. If I do this, it gives auto width. If I click on this, it gives me auto height. So I did it, and now it's inside my frame. Just to show you what just happened. So this was my button frame. I'll just name it. I'll quickly rename it over here. CTA button. And now when and my text is over here, see, both are right next to each other. But when I take my text and put it under this, it gets pushed into my CTA button frame. So it's part of, it's one now. Cool. Now let's just make it white. Okay, our buttons can't be so pointy. So there is this thing called over here corner radius. So what corner radius does, it adds a little, if you're familiar with CSS, it's border radius. So if I give a 5 pixel corner radius, it gets us, if you notice, there's a roundness to it. So yeah, you learned corner radius. Now I want this to be in the center. How do I do it? Either one way is I just manually do it like this using the guidelines, but that is not the correct, that is the way to do it, but you can do it much more efficiently. So one way to do it is I select this text, and now since it's encompassed, its outer boundary is only the bounds of this button. I can just click on, okay, if you notice this over here, these are alignment options. This left aligns it left, this aligns it in the center, this aligns it at the right, top, center, again, bottom. So I want it to be in the center from horizontally center and vertically center. So this was one way to do it. Now another way to create a button is, suppose if I have just the text, I have this text. For this purpose, let's make it orange. Okay, I have this text now. How do I make it into a button without getting a frame? What I do is I press Shift A again. Remember what Shift A was? It was to add auto layout. So I add auto layout. And if you note, again, I'm Control Z, and I'm going to show it to you again. See, I have my button, the CTA button over here, but I have one more text over here, download app. Let's just name it something, don't download app. Now I want to make this into a button. It's outside. Now, when I press Shift a frame automatically gets added on top of it, and here my don't download app is there. Now it's in the auto layout. First, okay, I'm going to teach you padding now. Padding is this. Padding is basically the space around my inner text, like around my don't download app. Right now I have a padding of 10 pixel, all left, right, top, and bottom. So if I increase it, it increases. Now if I want my button to be, let's say I'm adding a fill to my button, a little lighter shade of red. Yeah. So now I've given a padding of 32 pixels. Again, now if you don't want if you don't want even padding from all 4 sides, what you can do is first go ahead and center this, and then add manual padding from all 4 sides. So if I want top and bottom to just be 12, say 32, my bad. So this is my button. Again, give it some radius of 5 pixel, maybe here. So I have download app, don't download app. I prefer doing this way because here now I can give the code to the front-end developer directly, and he knows padding is 12 and 32 pixel. So this helps you practice the CSS as well. Cool. Moving on. So we have our illustration, we have a text, we have a this, we have a subtitle, we have a 2 buttons. Now, how do I center all of this? Say, suppose this is our website. It's a very bad website, not gonna lie, but just for you all to learn, this is good enough. Now, let's start all over again. But this time, I'll introduce you all to the proper way of doing it. First, when you have a frame, I'm going to create another frame, and you don't directly start putting things. You first start with something called as a layout grid. So when you add a layout grid, so now this looks a lot messy, but it's a grid of 10 pixels each. You remember I told you have to keep your spacing in multiples of 8, but keeping multiples of 8 is very manual. So what if you had a grid which was size 8? Now every pixel away is 8 pixels. And now if I move anything in it, like if I move anything over here, it automatically snaps onto the 8-point grid. And I don't have to manually sit doing it. What I prefer doing normally is I don't do a grid. I make it into columns. I have 12 columns. And I give a margin of, from both the sides, from left and right, a margin of, say, suppose, not 300, say 75. Okay, so now you see this red part is where I work on, and this side space I don't look at. You need to keep some negative space on your website, or white space. It gives more room to breathe and it looks much, much cleaner. So I have done that. I have my this. Now I will take my blue matter, put it over here. See it how it's snapping perfectly. So this makes your job very much easier. My blue matter is right here. I take these two out. Not these two, these 4. Okay. For now, I'm going to take sign in out and just keep these 3 in the frame. I'm going to, again, Shift A, auto layout them. They are in line, and sign in. My bad. Okay. If you have put auto layout and if you want to undo it, either you Control Z it or you do Control Shift G. That removes the auto layout. So now I can manually move it again. So now suppose I have this. Let's make sign in button. I again Shift A, make it. It's a button. Add padding of 8 from top, 8 from bottom, 30, not 32. Let's give 24, 24. This is my button. I'll give it a fill of, say, okay, let's take this blue. This becomes 5. This is my button. Give it a radius of 5. Cool. Now again, this is messy, not in a auto layout. So I do this, I select all of them, Shift A. They're all in one line. Now I put it in the center, I space between. And now if I adjust it snaps perfectly onto the edges. Now I have my 3 links on the top. I have my sign in button. I have my blue matter. Next, moving on is my title. So I just take this, maybe increase the font size a bit more. We don't want red, we want it to be darker version of blue. Say, okay, I'll just pick the color from the hamburger. Okay, we have this. Oh, also what you can do is if you find this a little too distracting, the red columns, you can reduce it, you can just hide it. Or don't take it out because you need it again and again. So what you could do is just reduce its transparency again, make it to 3% or something. It becomes much lighter. Now I have my fastest. Okay, if you all are familiar with line height, then again, you can add line height. Line height is basically just the line, literally the line height between each line. So I'm giving a line height of, say, suppose 140%, roughly 140. Okay. Okay, 140 might be a little too much, but we'll check. We'll see later. Again, I have given. So if I click on, again, if you remember what this was auto red, it automatically puts it in one line. So keep in mind. And yeah, cool. I have my title. Now let's get a subtitle. I got my subtitle. Let's put them both in a auto layout now. No, I'll do that later. I'll show this to you properly. if you need a download app button. CTAs again need to be very catchy, very bright and big, so that people, when they come on your website, that's the first thing they should be seeing. So we have a very bright and very bright blue CTA. Okay, so I'm just making small adjustments. Cool. Okay, now I'm going to show you the magic of auto layout. I select these two, auto layout. I give a spacing between them of multiple of 8, maybe 16 is a good number. And between this and the button, I'm going to give it again a spacing of, say, suppose 40. Yeah, 40 looks good for now. Now I want my illustration. I'm going to take it and put it here. Now, since I have this all into one frame, one auto layout, I can again select this. Oh, one more thing. If you are used to Windows, you're normally used to pressing Control and selecting multiple things. But if you want to select multiple things on Figma, you have to press Shift. So I'm pressing Shift. That's how multiple things get selected here. Control is to make, so if I just simply hover over it, selects the whole frame. But if I press Control, hold Control, then I can individually select within a frame. So Control is used for other purposes. Keep that in mind. So now I'm selecting these two, giving it a Shift A. Auto layout is added, putting them in the center, and the spacing between them is 42. So let's make it, no, let's do this space between, put this to the edge, see if this guy's on the edge, and yeah. So we have a much better looking web page than what we had before. You know what? Now see, if you notice what magic of auto layout is, if I manually decrease or increase the height, it automatically adjusts the bottom button and the everything. And see, suppose even the hamburger illustration automatically gets adjusted in the center. If you hadn't done that, you would have had to manually, every time you add a word on the title, or if you reduce whatever you do, you'll have to manually change it. So that this solves the problem. Or say, suppose now I want to add one more subtitle. So if I just click Control, select the subtitle and Control D it gets added and everything gets pushed down automatically. So this is one good part. And again, I can rearrange them however I like. So let's just take this out. Cool. I'm reducing the line height a bit. I prefer keeping it on auto. Sometimes, like 80% of time it's on auto, but yeah, sometimes you really need to do it on your own. I'm gonna give the button a little more, like give it 64. So now I have a betterly spaced button. So yeah, suppose now okay, I'll take this out, okay, now we have a decent, better than previous looking website. Now I want to fill it up. So I can take a pen. I'm just gonna add some mountains. Okay. So okay, I'm not that good with the pen tool. It's mostly for illustrators and all, but yeah, I'm trying my best. So you just take this and that. Now you add fill to it. And maybe give it a little, say, orange. Light orange. Take out the stroke, minus the stroke out. Oh, my bad. Oh, shit. Just give me a minute, huh? Okay. Sorry about that. Okay. So now I have my mountain. I can adjust. I can. Oh, it's outside. I just have to get it in. So now it is inside the field. It's perfect. I can duplicate. I can create multiple of it and maybe reduce its transparency. Oh, you can reduce the transparency from here. So now it's at 100% opacity. So maybe I can make it, say, 80%. And then I have, if you know, I have one more, right? Yeah, I have one more. And then this dude gets, say, 50%. And then see, I have a nice looking mountain. Looks really bad, but yeah. Let's just keep one for now. So it looks, okay, maybe not orange, not peach. Say we take a lighter shade of blue. Cool. So this is a bit better. So yeah, we've learned basics of Figma, like bare basics. So now again, now if my colleague wants to come and tell me that change this to slowest, my bad, slowest, and then he posts it, he'll tag me Vinit, and then I'll get an email saying Vinit, you have to change it to slowest. So that's one good thing. And then okay, I'll show you all how to make. Let's take an ellipse. I'm gonna add it over here. This is just to make it more make it look a little bit more beautiful. So I'm gonna select the circle, push it to the very back. So now my illustration is over it. And now what I can do is give it a very light thing. So now this looks a little better. Yeah, cool. Doesn't matter. But yeah, you have your basic bare bones website. One more thing I can teach you is, okay, just let me check. Yeah, cool. Oh, we can put gradients on this, by the way. I'll just quickly put a gradient here, keep it the opposite, change the direction. Put it down. I don't know. This looks not bad. Okay, doesn't matter. Moving on. So what I'm going to do is I'm selecting this whole frame, creating a duplicate. And now suppose this is my another page. This is my about us page. About us. And after I'm going to introduce you to prototypes. Okay. So prototypes are something that you use this. So whenever you're showing it to your teammates or your company, your manager, or someone, you never show it over here. You never show it working. You always show it in a prototype. So what you do is you take this, suppose on click of a download app, I want to, or click on restaurants. Okay, let's just, you know what? I'm going to select restaurants, Control D, create another link saying about us. You see how easy that was compared to just manually adding and moving things around. This just automatically got aligned in the center, and I have my about us link already over here. So now if I click on about us, you want me to open this page. So what I can do is select about us, go to prototype, and click on interactions. So when I tap on my bad, tap, navigate, oh my god, navigate to, and if you notice, this ball has come over here. So I'll just do it again. I'll just show it to you all again. I select about us, go to prototype, and you see this ball has come. Either you could do it all the way from here, or you could just take this, drag it, and snap it onto this page. So now on, it says, okay, my bad, on tab, where is on tab? Data. Okay, I'll just take this out. Yeah, here on tab. I'll just take all of this out. Try it. Cool. So if I'll just do this again. My bad, I fucked up a little. So I have 0 interactions, I have nothing. I'm on design. I created the about us link. Now I selected about us. I go to prototype. I take this ball and I snap it away. Now if you notice, by default, it says on tab, navigate to desktop 3. This is my desktop 3. Let's just rename it by saying about us. Okay, now it says, if you select about us again, it says on tab of navigate to about us. So how do you run a prototype? So you run a prototype by selecting this frame. Either you can right click on the frame, whichever you want to select, or just click on the name over here. Click on the name, click the play button on the top right corner. If you see this, and what it does is, give me a minute, give it a minute, it'll load. Oh wait, why did it come on the phone? Data. Okay, my bad, my bad. Let's just keep this. What's it? Not really. Cool, leave that. So suppose I click on About Us. I clicked on About Us, and if you notice, my new page has come up. That is this. So that is what I was trying to show you. You can run prototypes. And this phone doesn't come. It comes. I'm not sure how do I change it. To be honest, even I don't use prototypes as much. But yeah, this was one way to show prototypes. Oh yeah, wait one sec. Come on. Oh, my bad. It was right here. Google, why is it? Oh, cool. Let's just try it again. Oh yeah, here it is. So if I click, let's just go back. I click on About Us, and it opens my about the page. So that's it. That was the basics of Figma. You've learned how to add text. You've learned auto layout. You've learned how to change colors, how to add shadow, how to add gradients. You've learned how to use a pen tool. Pen tool is a little difficult. It takes time getting used to it, but it's fun to play around with, create shapes, create blobs, and add on the website. Yeah. I would suggest you keep Undraw Undraw comes in very handy, so try not to forget it. They have really good illustrations, and so yeah, that's it. That's basics of Figma. And now if you notice, let's just go back to design. So this left column, which I was talking about, it basically has 4 frames. So I'm going to delete this one and this one. So you have the home. So under home, you have all of these things. The vector is, this is the mountains. These are the mountains. And if you notice, as I hover over these things, they get selected on the frame over here. So it has a main frame, and under the main frame, you have the illustration, you have the text frame, under the text frame, you have the buttons and all this stuff. So yeah, this again, same with the About Us page. You can list, you can see everything, you can expand and all. Also, suppose you don't want things to be moving around, like you don't want this to happen by mistake. Accidental clicks are very common. What you can do is you can select it, and if you select it over here, it gets highlighted over here. And then go to the parent frame, and there's a lock icon on it. If you click on the lock icon, it's locked. Now, no matter what you do, it doesn't get selected. No, it's just there. Or if you wanted to undo it, you either right click on it and you find it over here, or if you're able to find it over here just by scrolling, you unlock it. So yeah, that was that. So I hope you guys are following.
You want to take some questions, bro?
No, wait, I just want to know, were y'all following? If y'all were, I can go ahead and teach y'all constraints. Oh, actually, you know what, let's just take questions first.
Cool. Or people can just put in if they want to learn constraints.
Cool, yeah, let's do that. Keeping space in multiples of 8. Okay, cool. Ayush's question was keeping can you explain that design concept of keeping space in multiples of 8? So it's a good practice. You know why? Because it maintains uniformity. So suppose if you're making a big page, I could show you Bluelearn's page, Bluelearn's Figma actually. Give me a minute. I stopped sharing, right, Viraj?
Yeah. You're not leaking any company secrets.
So yeah, one sec. Give me a minute. Hold on. Okay, cool. It has loaded it. Let's just see, what can I show to you all.
You cannot see a screen, right?
Yeah. I know.
Cool.
Okay, cool. I'm just gonna share my screen. Can you see this?
Yeah.
So if you don't maintain the uniformity of like keeping multiples of it, it's very easy to lose track of how much space you've kept. Like say you have multiple sections like these, blue clubs, community events, live courses, then a supportive community that always has a back. Now, how do you keep track of how much space you've kept between this and the parent frame, or between this whole frame and the above frame? So what you do is you first only create a fixed set of, keep it in your head, or create a design scheme where you have fixed typography set, you have fixed spaces set, and it looks much cleaner if you have multiples of 8. Like here I've kept a spacing of between the title and the subtitle is 16, but the between the subtitle and the button is 40. And same practice I've followed everywhere throughout the website. So visually it looks very clean and very aesthetically pleasing. Then just having everything haywire, somewhere if you keep a spacing between the button as only 10 and somewhere you keep only 40, then it becomes a little complex. So it's a good practice to keep a fixed spacing scheme. Okay, let's see what's this. Hey, Vinit, explain component responsive study. A lot of courses miss it. Oh, cool. I'll just explain. Components. My bad. I forgot to teach our components. So what I'm gonna do is just take this out. 1 sec. Give me a second. Oh, okay, cool. I'll try to replicate this middle part by using components. So what components is okay. Wait. By the way, thank you, Uday Kiran, for reminding me. So what components is, it's really cool. So you have these 4 links, right? So now if you want to change the color of all the links to say red, you'll have to manually go and do it. Now you don't want to do that. So what you do is you create a component. Here you create a component, and if you notice, it's become purple in color, and the icon has changed next to it. Instead of a T, it's become a parent component. So now I just create its copies. I use Control D and I make another copy. And now this is its child. Child has a outlined icon and the parent has a kind of a filled icon. So I'm creating multiple childs. I'm naming this guy food, restaurants, and this guy would be about us. Okay, now I want to change them to blue. So what do I do? Or red, all of them. So see, I just selected the parent, that is home. I know it's parent because it has this semi-filled icon, and I changed it to red. And now here I have, now if I want to reduce their size, I can do only the home, and automatically all of them get adjusted. If I want to maybe increase its font, say semi-bold or say black, it's just very much convenient. Like mostly people use this for navbar links and for anywhere where you have multiple things with the same constraints and same design constraints, same font size or same colors or whatever. Okay. Coming back to another question is, can you explain how to add a CTA button? Okay, cool. Yeah, I would love to. CTA button or any button. Wait, I hope I've got you right. You just want to know how to make a button, right? I'm gonna take this. I have this, but okay, let's just change it. I'll start from scratch. I'll create another frame. I've pressed F. I'm making a frame. I take text. I put it over here, and I write something down. Say Viraj and Devyansh are really good boss. That's my button. A pretty big button, but yeah. I shift A on it. I press shift A. Auto layout has been added. Now I center it from here. I give them spacing, say 10, 10, and side by side I want 32, 32. Again, I wanted spaces in multiple of 10, 8 or 4. So I can't, I'll avoid giving 10. You don't have to like necessarily constrict to it, but yeah, I'll give it top and bottom. Say I'll give 12 and 12. So I have my button. I'll give it, say, a fill of pink color. This is my button. So I hope that answers your question. What is a relevance of a design system? Okay, so if you're working, if you're working in a company, and if you have multiple designers, even if you're single-handedly doing it, a design system is good because so basically what a design system is, it is a fixed set of all H1, H2, not H, okay, how do I explain this? Your fixed set of heading sizes, maybe, okay, moving back to the Bluelearn Figma. So if you notice, we have a header, we have subheaders like blue clubs, community events, and you have subtitles. So if you have a design system ready where it already tells you what my main header, how big my main header should be, what my font size, what my font weight should be, what my subheaders like H2s and what my subtitles should be, you can just pick it up from there and add it. So it's very convenient. Mostly it's for convenience and even for communication. So if you're communicating with a front-end developer, he can just refer to the once he's coded the design system into his CSS, into his HTML CSS. He doesn't he make classes of them. Then he doesn't have to manually keep adding font weight, font size, color every single time. He can just pick that class, add that class onto that text, and he's done. He's sorted. So all of these small things, if you do them first only and keep, it's much better. So that is a design system. Cool. Hey Vinit, okay, cool. Okay, responsive grids. Okay. Let's teach all responsive grids. I'll teach our constraints first. So now imagine we have this big frame and we have Viraj and Divyansh are really good hosts. So right now, I'll I'll create another frame which is around it, and my button is inside the frame, and I'll give this my outer frame a stroke. So now you can see it. Just so that it's more visible with a little fatter stroke. So right now my button, so this whole thing is in the center, or it's in somewhere. Okay, and my constraint says it's at left and top. So what this means is now no matter how much I resize this, it's always gonna stick to left and top. But now if I set this to be at the center, from horizontally center and vertically also center, center. So now what's happening is if I change it, however, or if I change it up and down, it'll stick to that constraint. Even if I move it right and left, even if I move it from this side, it'll stick to that constraint. It won't break it. Then if I make it left and right, so now, no matter if I move it, okay, say suppose, okay, let's not make this left and right. Let's keep this left, keep this top. And I have my, 1 second, give me a minute. Let's just take this as an example. Okay, right now, put it in a, just so that it's visible to you all, I'm gonna give it a very bad color. Fill it with gray, maybe say Acha, and put this over here. Now I'm constrained. Now I'm going to select this whole frame. I'm going to constrain it to be in the center of this gray frame and center over here. Okay, and now this parent gray frame, whose parent is this white big frame. So now if I shift, if I increase or decrease this, my nav bar, my top bar stays fixed. If you notice, no matter what I do. But Control Z, 1 sec. Now if I constrain this to be left and right, and this should be top only. So if I increase it, did you notice what happened? Now my child frame, which is child to the big frame. Okay, let's read it this main frame. Okay, so my child to the main frame, which is this gray thing, it will adjust accordingly. Now, same way, if I have it in the, let's use these are super convenient. Now, if I've kept it at the center, if I want to keep it at the center, now no matter what I do, it's always going to be at the center. And please, it's always going to be at the center. Now, say we take a combination of, from horizontally you want it to be in the center, but vertically you want it to be top. Oh, my bad. Vertically you want it to be in the center, but horizontally you want it to be left and right. So what you do is you get it back, snip it. 1 second, give me a minute. Acha. Now I'm going to select this, and horizontally I want it to be left and right. So let me see. Now if I, no matter what I do, it's going to stay center vertically, and left and horizontally it's going to adjust accordingly. Okay, cool. Wait, where is my mouse? Cool. So grid. Am I audible? Is my video also clear? Because
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
getting,
Yeah.
I just got a notification saying my internet is unstable. So yeah.
You had to start in the middle, but now it's good.
Acha, theek hai. So if you remember this column, so if you go to any website, even if you go to a Bluelearn website, Bluelearn, or even if you go to say Udemy, maybe not. Let's see what Udemy is. If you notice, they all are they have a lot of white space at the sides. They're all constrained to one container. You go to Bluelearn, you go to Bluelearn, it's constrained to a middle container, and at the side there is white space. My bad. Sorry. So same way, to make sure you don't cross that constraint. Now this is done by coding, but for designers, how do you make sure you don't cross it? So you add these columns. If you've seen this, maybe I'll just make it 10 again. Yeah. So this is how I manage. So now you should notice my blob is going out of my constraint. So I'm just pushing it in. Oh, you can also use the arrow keys to move things slightly by pixel by pixel. So now everything is inside. That was one. Also, what you can also adjust is margin. So now normally container sizes are either, I told you 1300, 1200. So accordingly, now right now my whole frame is 1440, and I want it to be say 1300. So I want it to be 1440 minus 1300. That is 140. So margin from both the side should be 70 each. So I'll just make it 70 each. And then now my container is, my container width is 1300. And then you work in it. One more thing, what you can do is you can add one more, what do you call it? Grid. Go select it, make it into rows. And this is really cool. Suppose the spacing you want it to be in multiple of 8, right? So you make 1000 rows, make them to top, give height, width. Oh, my bad. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So now you see these small rows. Now these are all multiples of 8 pixel. So now if I'm moving, say suppose I have, let's just get another text. Say Zomato. Okay. Now if I'm moving, it auto, so you see this red guideline, it automatically snaps onto it. So I don't have, so my 8-point grid, so this keeping spaces of 8 pixel or multiples of 8 automatically gets adjusted accordingly. And even sides, see, if you notice, it snaps onto it. Snap. So it's much more easier to maintain that 8-point grid. Okay, coming back to the next question. I'm sorry if I missed any questions. Please, y'all you can text again. There are too many questions. Okay. Is it necessary for everyone in the team to learn everything? If you're asking about Figma, I say no. You don't only now what I taught you was, I'd say 60-70% of Figma, and even with 30%, even if you know how these 5-6 components on top work and what is in this panel, what is in this panel, you're good to go. You can start making websites quickly, very quickly. There are also suggestion. There is this guy called DevEd on YouTube. He teaches you how to make websites in design websites in 20 minutes, 30 minutes, 40 minutes, and he makes websites very similar to like these only, like how I've made. And but it's good practice. Watch them. Even there's this one dude who's he's called Misco on YouTube. He's a designer from Australia. He teaches all these advanced stuff and basic. He starts with basic, but he goes on to advanced stuff well, like constraints and auto layout. I know auto layout is a little difficult. I didn't go in depth much because even it took me some time to get used to it. Even constraints, it took me some time to get used to it. But go to Misco, Mizko, and
Maybe you can put it in the chat, Vinit.
oh yeah, cool. Misco. And one more guy is DevEd. Oh, someone asked which is that font you use. I use Montserrat. Also, I remember reading somewhere that someone asked, is Figma used to design websites?
Vinit, you didn't put it in everyone's chat. It was probably went to someone's DM.
Oh, my bad, my bad. It went to Manav. Shit.
Yeah. Just copy paste out and influence.
ठीक है. Misco and DevEd. Cool. Also, yeah, can you use Figma to design websites or phone apps? Yeah, you can. Because when you click on frame, you get multiple options. You have tablet, phone, and according you take any frame you like and you start. You can even create for iWatches and Apple Watches, or even social media stuff you can create on Figma. Anything you can even think of which is digital, you can make on Figma. Presentations. Oh, I didn't know presentations existed, but yeah. So yeah, next question is, oh, could you please answer again? What is Figma? Oh, damn, my bad if I missed it. Figma is a designing tool similar to Adobe XD, similar to Sketch, which designers use to make Figma like website mockups or app mockups, and then those app mockups or website mockups are used to show their bosses or investors or clients and get reviews, and then make changes or submit them. Or even Figma mockups are like, I mainly use it to show our front-end developer, and he looks at the designs and then he codes. So yeah, that's all the answer. Question. Please tell me what is the use of coding? Oh, so if you were familiar with HTML, CSS, no, learning or not learning, I would say, oh, wait, my bad. Understanding auto layout or understanding why you need a grid or why you need a 8-point grid or why you need nav bars or everything, it just connects instantly. Or if you're familiar with Figma, auto layout and all, and if you're trying to learn HTML, CSS, it'll be instant. You'll be able to learn it very easily. Okay, moving on to the next question. Link channel names. Oh, also, if you all want more links and more channel names, Bluelearn on our Bluelearn Instagram page, we've already, like very recently, this week only, we posted a series like how to get started how to get started with UI UX, and the resources, all YouTube resources are posted over there. So make sure you check it out. Maybe if Avril is here, she can send the link to it. I think she already did. Okay. Next question is, cool. Any upcoming sessions on making UI of complete app? Oh, okay. Satyam asked me if there is a session on making a UI of complete app. We could have it. Let's see. Put in comments. Send us feedback if you all want to do it. We can do it. I would love to conduct a session on coding an app. Even I'm learning on how to. So designing an app is completely different. Like not completely, but very much different than how you design websites and all. So it's a learning process. So even I'm learning, and I would love to teach you all as well. Take you all with me throughout the process. Yeah.
So how much more time do you have?
Yeah, bro. I think I'm done.
Cool. So let's just end this.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks for coming, guys. If any one of you have participated in the Designathon and you're in some team, then check the Discord server for sure. You'll find something known as Designathon TCs, that is Designathon text channels. There you'll find your own team name, and then go click on that. You'll find your teammates in that channel. You can also see Designathon VCs, that is Designathon voice channels. Again, same thing. Every voice channel has the team's name. So once you click on it, your teammates can join that. Another thing that is there is that we have released the problem. We will be releasing the problem statement in another 2 or 3 minutes, I believe. Might take like 10, 15. I cannot guarantee that. And you can check it out by the Notion docs link that we provided earlier. Wait, I'll just provide it once again over here. Just either save this link or you can find it in our earlier announcements as well. We'll be also announcing the problem statement on the Discord server. So same thing, in every channel you can find the problem statement and all the guidelines regarding the Designathon. So yeah, on that note, I guess we can end it.
Yeah. Thank you guys. Y'all were an amazing audience. I'm sorry if I didn't check your questions, but yeah, y'all can DM me on Instagram, also on LinkedIn. Feel free to do that. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. Cool.
Thanks, Viraj.
Goodbye.
Thanks, Divyansh. Bye bye.
Thanks for coming. Thanks for coming, Vinit. Thanks for coming, everybody.
Hello.